Hey everybody, welcome back to the Mimic Commentary. We are on episode 15. In the last episode, we made it from the middle, over here I think, up to the Church of Pilgrimage, down to the Tombsward Catacomb, but we learned a lot. So just as a recap, we found this guy who cries the same tears as America, is in America. He's in this funny pose, and he might be a Golden Order fundamentalist. We also killed a Guardian, and while off screen, I got more of their stuff, so we can kind of look at them. We learned something very important when it comes to Erdtree burial within Elden Ring. An Erdtree burial is a proper death, but in accordance to an ancient pact, it is said that their deaths led not to destruction, but instead renewed eternal life as guardians. So we learned that Erdtree burial destroys either the body and soul of people, but you can become a guardian and not be destroyed. We also learned that those who live in death are actually vengeful spirits, and we learned that from the crafting of rancor pots. In times of old, the dead were burned with ghost flame, and from those cinders arose vengeful spirits, and it was a bone shard and grave violet. The grave violet is useful for calling forth spirits because it's the hue of ghost flame, and bone shards are human bone shards. But one thing that I forgot to talk about was we saw this guy doing this pose and seamless phase transition. The guys with the theta symbols from a few episodes, the star callers who mine meteors or whatever, they are also doing this pose. So is that guy a star caller? Well, we'll have to figure that out if we get more information on either star callers or the guy at the statue. We don't have his name yet. And luckily for us, able to get a gravity stone chunk, the desperate ones who scavenge for these shards dub themselves star callers. We're not going to use that one because I need to hold on to it forever. So, meteor strike. So, was that guy at that church who was a Golden Order fundamentalist interested in meteor strikes? Can't say yet. So, that was just something important I wanted to bring up before we continued on, that I forgot to mention in last episode, that the guy at the church doing that pose who cries the same tears as America might be a star caller. And while we were fighting these guys, or while I was fighting them off screen, I was able to get their weapon. Now, here's something very interesting. I think you're all going to like this. This is the Guardian Sword Spear. Oh, let me look it up. A weapon comprising a long handle and broad blade sharpened from the hardwood of old trees. Okay, so this is a wooden spear. It's made from old trees. This is what the Guardians, who are kind of tree people, this is their weapon. All right, the tree men use tree swords. Wielded by Guardians of the Minor Erdtrees, known as experts in the art of combat. The power of this weapon scales greatly with dexterity. Okay, so are the Guardians, were they chosen because of their prowess in combat, or did becoming a tree make them good at combat? I'm going to assume they were good at combat before they became Guardians. So, the people who could become Guardians of the Tree and give eternal life, they're the ones who are good at fighting. But this is what's interesting. So we're also going to equip this weapon as well. The Golden Halberd, which is a halberd forged of gold, wielded by the Order of Tree Sentinels, deals holy damage, masterfully crafted weapon that lives up to its heft, but it's difficult for one of mere human strength. And it has a golden vow attached to it. Can't use it yet. Skill passed down through antiquity among the knights of the capital. Raise armament aloft and pledge to honor the Erdtree in battle, granting self and nearby allies attack power. But here's what's interesting. Okay, so if we look at the sword spear, we can see that the top has a little bit of a spiral. And if we look at our halberd, we can also see more of that spiral imagery. We see it at the hilt. We see it at the top, and we kind of see it where the blade is. So we're seeing a lot of spiral iconography when it comes to things related to the Erdtree. I think we also may see it. I think we also see it on the shield. Let me just double check. Yeah, more spirals here too. So we're seeing spirals related to the Erdtree in some way. There's also spirals on the tiara for this thing. So we'll try and keep that in mind because we're seeing a lot of spiral imagery, and you and I both know that that's very important. Coming up on here, I think this is going to be our first legit Minor Erdtree fight. But I want to clear out all the Guardians before we do that. Okay. This is something new we haven't seen before. Still a lot of Guardians roaming around. But we have our Minor Erdtree. If we compare it, it's, you know, we could see it's very tree-like. It's tree-like. Compared to our Erdtree, which is all gold, and our illusory trees where we get our golden seeds, that are the seeds of the Erdtree that flew after the Elden Ring was shattered. Okay. So we're seeing something interesting here. That tree is all gold. These trees, kind of gold. The illusory trees, a little bit of gold. There are all these pots, broken pots. And the only thing we kind of know about pots so far comes from our cracked pots. Unfortunately, I've made these all fire bombs, but we know that they magically reseal. And one of the main ingredients for our pots are mushrooms. Fungal growth that thrives in damp thickets elsewhere. Its thick, spongy flesh makes it a key component for throwing pots. Now, you know, we're going to use a little bit of our prophetic powers. What could have been stored in these pots? Well, we know Erdtree burial, they'd put people in the roots. Maybe in these pots they put, not people who get directly Erdtree burial, but they get minor Erdtree pot burial. Because the throwing pots use fleshy mushrooms. And then we have this very interesting enemy over here. Before we fight them, let's look at their weapon. I'm not sure when later in the game that we actually get their weapon, but let's just kind of look at it from a distance. A tree at the top, big roots towards the bottom. Not seeing any spirals. Let me kill this guy so he doesn't bother me. I wonder if we could see its face too. I might talk about it when we go. Does that kind of look spirally? It's hard to say, but it's a tree thing. Okay, so, we can summon Engvall. Finally. I was mentioning before, this guy's dragoned up. Okay, he got a dragon on his head. He's got a big cod piece. Any spirals? No spirals. So the Banished Knights, such as Engvall, they are dragon worshippers. So another thing that we want to talk about before we even fight, there's so much I want to mention so I don't get distracted while we're fighting. Crystal Tear formed slowly over the ages where the Erdtree's bounty fell to the ground. So that's Crystal Tears. That's where they come from. And the Flask of Wondrous Physic, a relic flask chemists harness the power of Crystal Tears, which only form after the passage of many moons. Basins are played at the feet of minor Erdtrees throughout the lands between in order to collect these crystallized tears. We found one 2 episodes ago in the north, a basin. And, I kind of alluded that it might be like another basin. But this Minor Erdtree, we will see, does not have a basin. Instead, the Erdtree Avatar has an opening in its head. This is also supposed to... It's kind of like a reskin of the Asylum Demons from Dark Souls 1 and 3. Let's see, let's do its moves. Okay, we have the Ancient Erdtree Sigil on there. It shoots these golden stars. That sigil is the same as this sigil. Oh, jeez. Oh, it's him with Flame of Frenzy. Okay. Pretty cool. We're going to fight a lot more of those guys. So he was an Erdtree Avatar. An Avatar... Oh, and he drops the Crystal Tears. So an avatar is a kind of it's like a representation of a person, or a thing. So for example, our character in the game, this is our avatar. We control the avatar. It's supposed to represent us in some way. So that's the Erdtree Avatar. So essentially that is supposed to be kind of like a manifestation of the Erdtree. That is the Erdtree Avatar manifesting its will in some way. That's how I read it. That the Erdtree is manifesting its will in some way at the minor Erdtrees. That the Erdtree has a way of, it has its maybe not thoughts like we would think of thoughts, but it has some sort of ability to create extensions of itself to protect its ideals. We can also see on these pots that the lids show a tree. So these are, and they're smashed and they're broken open. So we're assuming right now they put there's meat inside and they crack them open here and they feed these minor Erdtrees, which look very different than that tree. This is actually interesting. The minor Erdtree, this minor Erdtree is right above a catacomb. So, I think we could say that maybe the roots of this catacomb are connected to this minor Erdtree. The root system is connected here because of the, we go into the minor, we go into Tombsward Catacomb and we find Erdtree roots and there's a minor Erdtree right above it. So that might be, all of these trees might be connected. There's a giant root system. All these trees might be connected. And that's why maybe these trees are darker than the Erdtree. The Erdtree might be the spectral tree, and then it has a root system that connects to everything. Actually, wait. We know that. No, I gotta take that back. We do know what that is. I'm being silly. It's our crafting materials. Root resin. The roots of the great tree were once linked to those of the Erdtree, or so they say. It's for this reason that catacombs are built around great tree roots. So this is connected to great tree root system, and the Erdtree used to be connected to the great tree root system. The Erdtree's root system, you may have heard my cat. The Erdtree's root system used to be connected to the great tree's root system. So the golden seeds are spectral because the Erdtree is spectral. And this looks like, might be just a great tree, part of the great tree system, but since it's interconnected with the Erdtree system in some way, it gets these golden leaves. Possibly. We'll think about that. And then we also got our crystals. So this one is gradually restore HP, and this one gives us, I think, a bubble. But this place doesn't have a basin. Instead, the Erdtree Avatar kind of had a hole in its head. So leading me to believe that the Erdtree Avatars manifested or formed. Oh, and mushrooms are on here too. They manifested or formed because of the crystal tears that fell on them. So that's kind of, I think, what we're seeing. We're seeing the mechanics of how does the Erdtree create its own avatars, and what are they trying to do? Well, it looks like they're trying to protect these budding minor Erdtrees, which I think that's a pretty cool system. That the Erdtree kind of has in place to protect itself and to make sure it can survive into the future when threatened. Oh, and what is that? Oh, I hear something. All right, so from this vantage point, hopefully we can get the telescope on her. Oh, it's a little difficult. Maybe we can get somewhere else. Oh, first, let's look at her back. Yeah, we can kind of see it. So, these are, I think they're named internally the Winged Dames. Even from the back, we could see that she kind of has a braided spiral hair. She's wearing a hairnet. You can see a human nose. And you see all this very fleshy skin, as opposed to the typical giant man-eater bats, which are very bat-like. And they have a lot of fur, and we can actually see them eating men, so, man-eater. But she is very fleshy. And we talked about previously, in a few episodes ago, about the man-bats. I think it's from George R. R. Martin's Thousand Worlds story. Gosh, Bitter Blooms. I think they're in Bitter Blooms, which is a planet that has regressed after the interregnum, where they lost space travel. And one of the ways that the Ecological Engineering Corps, who use the Theta symbol, similar to the Star Callers, or the Star Seekers, what are they called? The Star Callers have, they would make these kind of fleshy man-eating bats. They were, they weren't vampire, or they were called vampire bats. Oh, we fell. So the song that she is singing, oh, I want to look at more of her. Now that we can, oh, please don't see me. Please don't see me. Oh, this is actually better. This is better. Okay. Excellent. Now we can really look at her. So we could see she has she has like jewels around her waist. She's a very kind of human-like body, except for the bat parts. And she has a human face. So just knowing what we know about George R. R. Martin's work. Oh, also bats are really important to Song of Ice and Fire. So what we know from George R. R. Martin's work is was this creature, did they start as a person and then become a bat? Did they start as a bat who started to become a person? Were they always a person bat? And I don't mean just this one in particular, but this species. Are we seeing a common trope of people becoming animals in some way? So that's a question that we're going to have. We don't have any answers for that yet, but we're going to think about that. Are people becoming animals? And this is a winged dame, and the song is actually called the Song of Lament. And the lyrics are in Latin. It's not gibberish. It's actually a song. And it translates to, "Alas, that land once blessed now has diminished. We, destined to be mothers, now become tarnished. We have lamented, we have shed tears, but no one consoles us. Golden one, at whom were you angry?" All right. So we have, "Alas, that land once blessed now has diminished." So is that land this current land or somewhere else? "We, destined to be mothers, now become tarnished." So someone else is becoming tarnished. They lost their coloring. They lost their gold. They were destined to be mothers, but that changed. So something changed that they're not mothers anymore. And it changed destiny. And remember, prophecy is very important in Elden Ring. We're the prophet class, and we learn about burning the Erdtree. So if destiny is being forsaken, does that have to do with prophecy? Does that have to do, were they really supposed to be mothers? So did something change that shouldn't have changed? "We have lamented and we have shed tears, but no one consoles us. We're on the Weeping Peninsula. We crossed the Bridge of Sacrifice. We passed the Impaler's Catacombs, and there's also Castle Morn. Golden one, at whom were you angry?" And we can assume Golden one is supposed to be the Erdtree. That's who I think it means. But we'll try and maybe think about those lyrics, see where they're located. And we're going to fight her. Let's see what type of move she does. So she has poison. Something else that does poison is the Miranda flowers, the tree flowers that name Miranda. The Miranda flowers, which can scream when you light them on fire. They also, what do you call it? They scream when you light them on fire. They can bleed. So we have bats that can poison you, trees that can poison you, bat women people, and maybe tree people? Miranda flower, maybe tree. Is this a new one? No. Those born at the foot of the Erdtree are blessed. At least that is the enduring people of the plateau. Something interesting we're going to notice is that the bats all have a lot of runes. Like if you want rune items, farming the bats is useful. We also find bats frequently. We've also been finding bats frequently around these ruins. Okay? These black stone ruins. And we could see Castle Morn in the distance here. So these bats we're finding a lot near these ruins that the earth seems to be built out of. And we can see more. Look at that. The whole side of the entirety of the Weeping Peninsula is constructed on top of these stone structures. And we're going to go get that item that we saw previously, but we're going to get a look around. Oh. No. Goodness. Okay, we got a tower over there. We got Tarnished, who are being crucified, and we have some of Godric's knights. Wonder what they're guarding. And there is a octopus. Oh, is this new? Oh, we've had silvers meat before. Actually, I want to compare. This is something I want to bring up. Now, this is for the future. This is for the future. But isn't it interesting that sliver of meat and strip of white flesh both look almost exactly the same? They even got drips in the same spot. This is the dried, this is a slice of thinly carved beast flesh. And this is Thin strip of flesh taken from a bloodless creature. All right. Interesting. And just so, you know, other things that look similar. Smithing stones, somber smithing stones. You know, nothing weird. And in our key items, there's larval tears, which are kind of silvery. All right. Just thought I'd bring that up. What do we have over here? Okay, we got demi-humans hanging out near an area that's on fire. Oh, he threw a firebomb at me. And we have the smoldering butterflies. These are eternally burning, found near wildfires and elsewhere, serves as kindling. I'm curious, did the wildfires start first and then the butterflies came out? Or did the butterflies start the wildfire? I don't have an answer for that. I'm going to be honest. I don't have an answer for this, even with my prophetic visions. I kind of have a theory or an inclining, but not sure. Oh, the tolling of the bell. And this castle thing can walk, and it has a bell. And when we think of bells, we should think of our... Where is it? Our spirit calling bell. A bell capable of summoning various spirits. And you need a rebirth monument. So buy a rebirth monument with a spirit calling bell, you can call forth spirits. And these guys down there, they look pretty ghostly. They look pretty spectral. So is this thing summoning them? We also know, actually, this is the... this is the cradle of the soulless demigods. America's unwanted children. And there's Grace down there. Is the bell trying to summon a soul to the soulless demigods? That'd be pretty interesting. That could be pretty interesting. The demigod is soulless. Well, he needs a soul. Let's summon a bell. Also, how did these guys get here? There's no water nearby. Well, I guess because they're land octopuses. But why are they here? I don't have an answer for that. Okay. Oh, there's our item. And look at that. We're progressing. We're getting things done. Hopefully I'm not, like, missing things. I feel like if I move too quickly, I might start to miss things. Oh, is this a spiral, too? Is that spiraled? Kinda. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if we can get anything for that. All right. Eclipse Crest Heater Shield. Ooh. Maybe we'll use it. Let's take a look at it. That is an eclipse, all right. That's an eclipse. A medium-sized metal shield. The sun in eclipse is said to be the symbol of the wandering mausoleum where the soulless demigods slumber. We also have Lutel the Headless, spirit of a headless knight who leads the mausoleum soldiers, wields a lance enrobed with death, hurls spectral lances, so she's got ghost lances. Lutel sacrificed her life so that in death she could continue to protect a soulless demigod until their revival, earning her the hero's honors of an Erdtree burial. So I think we're right on that. This thing has a bell. This thing has a bell to summon souls to the soulless demigod cradled inside, and that should give their revival. They don't have a soul, but they need a soul. Let's hit that Grace, but we're not going to go in that direction just yet. I'm going to fight some of these guys. but we're going to go to those ruins over there. So I'm going to hit the Grace, fight a couple of those guys. If we get an item, we'll talk about it. If not, I'll see you at those ruins. Before I get an item, these guys don't have heads and they can teleport. They are ghosts. And look at that, they disappear like ghosts. The only item I got from them was smithing stones, which, you know, everybody should have smithing stones, but we also got Lord Sworn's bolts, wielded by regulars of a lord's army. So these guys who chopped off their heads, or had their heads chopped off, and are ghosts, were part of a lord's army. Maybe that lord was one of those soulless demigods, but we can't say yet. I gotta bring it up again, because it's just like, I think it's so important how the Lands Between is made out of this stuff. Just like everything. this tree wouldn't be there if it wasn't built on top of this rock, and the catacombs built into the wall, just all of it. That too. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And it's crazy. All right. Now we're at the Tombsward ruins. So this is Tombsward. There's the Tombsward ruins. And this was the Tombsward catacombs. So Tombsward, these people are warding the tomb. And the tomb might be... Oh, you know what? It must be the people who live here because of that thing, right? It's the cradle of the soulless demigods. So, you know... Not exactly alive, I guess. Is that the tomb? Is that the tomb? Maybe. They had their church. They had the Tombsward church, I guess. This guy had a beast liver, luscious fruit of life, and a lot of Trina lilies. What is Saint Trina trying to tell us? What is she trying to tell us? Ooh, what's that? All right. Thanks to Saint Trina, we found that message, and we got Divine Fortification. Incantation of the Two Fingers Faithful, and we could see that it has the Two Fingers script behind it. Divine Fortification, Incantation of the Two Fingers Faithful. Increase holy damage negation. Follow the path that has been set for you, and you will make enemies of all others. The monks, the sorcerers, the ancient dragon knights, and the scions of gold. Heed me, the lands between offers no welcome to the tarnished. And the other item, the Two Fingers has high hope for the tarnished, that even if they should be wounded, even should they fall, they will continue to fight for their duty. So since we found a Divine Fortification here, that should tell us that one of the Two Fingers Faithful was here. And remember in the last episode, we learned that this was this area is where Godfrey became tarnished. Him and his warriors became tarnished. So this they must have been Two Fingers Faithful, probably when they became tarnished. And the incantations follow the path that is set for you, and you will make enemies of all others, the monks, the sorcerers, the ancient dragon knights, and the scions of gold. Scion, we had the grafted scions, and they're part of the golden lineage, so that's the scions of gold. Godric the Grafted, yeah, he's an enemy of us. I don't think we've met any monks yet. Yeah, we haven't met any monks. Wonder who that's supposed to be. The sorcerers, well, we met the sorcerers. We know about the Carians and the Academy of Raya Lucaria, so we would be enemies of them. And then the Ancient Dragon Knights, and we learned about the Ancient Dragon Knights from the Lightning Strike, the capital's ancient dragon cult. So the Ancient Dragon Knights come from the capital. We know about, this area is most likely old dragon territory. And the dragon cult probably is new, because we learned that the dragons attacked Leyendell. So they attacked Leyendell and then started a cult. So thanks to St. Trina's Trina Lilies, we found these messages to bring us to Divine Fortification and get some lore. So thank you, St. Trina. Thank you for showing that. And there's something else here, too. And they'll let me summon Engvall. And when they let me summon a spirit, I will. What we got in here? Two guys. Oh, nice. Lore. Oh, he does wind attacks or storm attacks. Let's see. Can you do more? There we go. Cool. He's the Wings of the Storm. So the Ancient Dragon, or the Banished Knights who... God, there's the Ancient Dragon Cult. There's the Banished Knights. There's Dragon Communion. This guy is a Banished Knight and he does storm attacks. And the Ancient Dragon Knights, their spell has lightning attacks, so a little different. But we got the Page Garb. Let's see what that looks like on us. Let's do some fashion. Worse in defense. Kind of cool, though. Garb worn by pages who serve the nobility and are mindful to keep them out of harm's way. Okay, so nobility was here. Maybe the nobility is that soulless demigod. Or maybe, it could be the people who are guarding. This is Tombsward, so there's probably a noble presence here. Traveling wear tailored with the exquisite precision to avoid any undue shame on the page's master. Okay, so the page's master had to be here. Let's kind of build out. Weeping Peninsula, actually, yeah, so it seems like there should be royalty. I guess we have Hyetta, or not. Oh, yikes, I shouldn't have said that. That's a prophecy coming in. Arena, her commander owns the castle, her father, town here, Sorcerer Tower. So yeah, I guess there would be some nobility. Even the Weeping Peninsula, even though it's far away from the Erdtree, I can imagine like people who they didn't like they would send here. Or like they give you a distant duty. They're like, hey, go hang out in the Weeping Peninsula where it's really far from the Erdtree, and this is where the Tarnished got sent off. This place kind of sucks, but you're noble. Maybe you're like a fifth cousin, and that's your digs. And we also got a new weapon. I think I need... Fate. Oh, wow, you need a lot of stats for that. Can I show its move? No. Okay, we're going to have to get the stats so I can show what that looks like. But this is the Winged Scythe. Sacred scythe resembling a pair of white wings. According to pagan beliefs, white-winged maidens are said to be Death's gentle envoy. Okay, all right, so we're getting... Oh, boy. So death used to be burned in ghost flame in times of old, and pagan beliefs said the white wings were Death's gentle envoys. So, and this unique skill is angel wings. So they believed in angels. The pagans believed in angels. Jump and imbue the winged blade of the armament with light, then deliver a slashing attack. So we want to see that light attack. The white wings impede recovery actions Flask of Tears, and Flask of Tears are... you use golden Erdtree seeds and sacred tears to enhance them. So this pagan culture that has white-winged maidens as Death's gentle envoy, they before the Erdtree. So this area is totally... This place was built, this culture, these ruins, most likely all built before the Erdtree. That Wandering Mausoleum, too. Since this is Tombsward, this place is called Tombsward. That name is probably pre-Erdtree as well, I would say. I'm operating under the assumption that most of these ruins, these buildings, these regular buildings, those churches, that church built not by Erdtree people. They're not that old, okay? Not thousands of... It wasn't thousands of years ago that the dragon culture run this peninsula, who knows how many years, but just enough that they were still active. So they are pagan, and they had white-winged maidens, Death's gentle envoy, and oh my goodness, we are trying to know everything we're doing about death. Those who live in death are bad. The sun in eclipse is set to a symbol of Wandering Mausoleum, where the soulless dead and gods slumber. Do they want the white-winged maidens to come to the slumbering demigods? Who knows? We don't know yet. And we have a jail. Oh, there's so much to talk about. I'm trying to move quick. The Tarnished were here. This is where they got Tarnished, far away from the Erdtree, under the Weeping Peninsula, in a place that was run by the dragon people. We know it's the dragon people, the dragon culture, the age before the Erdtree, because of all of the talismans we were getting. Remember? The ancient dragons who ruled in the prehistoric era before the Erdtree would protect their lord as a wall of rock in the era before the Erdtree. So now I'm going to, we don't have this yet. We don't have this yet. But let me lay it out, because I think there might be some confusion on timeline stuff. The dragons. Okay, wait. Let's open this up again. Oh. The ancient dragons who ruled in the prehistoric era before the Erdtree. So there was a prehistoric era before the Erdtree. Prehistory. Nobody was writing anything. Would protect their lord as a wall of living rock. Okay. And as the dragon became a symbol of all manner protections. So in prehistory, the dragons ruled. But we have churches for dragons. We have talismans crafted evoking dragons. We found a beast man with a dragon talisman, and we have our banished knight Engvall, who has dragon ornamentation on his armor. So it seems like dragon worship, while the ancient dragons may not have been actively ruling, it seems like their culture, their influence was still going on before the Erdtree happened. Prehistory can be a very long time, but even history is also a very long time. So, we're going to be operating just based on what the churches look like and all these things that we're learning. There's pagan beliefs with white-winged maidens. If you have pagan beliefs about white-winged maidens as Death's gentle envoy, and they're angels and stuff, and this weapon is really ornate. the person who crafted this weapon, the person who made this weapon, this scythe, they could read and write. You know, reading and writing was happening, so history was happening. And yet this is in the dragon area. So, you know, the ancient dragons may not have been around, but at the very least, their culture was, or at least those who followed them. So I think we're moving along. We're doing good. You know, last episode I feel bad. It was an hour long and we didn't get to do much. But now I'm trying to get us to do more things. Found another one of our Evergaols, and this one's locked. So somebody either doesn't want somebody getting in, or they don't want somebody getting out. And we have our funny eye guys, and if we recall, they are made from ruined fragments. And with these, you know, they fall from the sky. There's a faint light with them. Same from these things. So perhaps the same culture built these. But these things are really old, and they don't really do much. You know, they're just watching the jail. They're not worried about, I think, like us going in. I think they're worried about the thing coming out. That makes the most sense to me. So let's see what they are guarding. What should be locked up tight at a place like this? This is the Weeping Evergaol. So we're in the Weeping Peninsula. I think we're going to say, you know, it might be safe to assume that, you know, it's just called the Weeping Evergaol because we're in the Weeping Peninsula. Let's say whoever is in this jail is sad. They're sad. So who's sad? Who's crying? Let's play Who is Crying? If you answered Ancient Hero of Zamor is crying, you would be correct. All right, let's take a look. Oh, let's take out her shield. She got a chain on her arm. She's very tall. Braided hair. Big, crazy sword. Got icicles on it. And she does a lot of spinning slashes. Okay. Oh, and she has frost attacks. All right. So this icy woman, she has frost attacks. She weak to fire? Yes. Catch flame is probably better. And she has a chain. She's a prisoner in some way, obviously. The thing that I think of the most when I see this Ancient Hero of Zamor, wherever Zamor means ancient, so she is old. She's ancient. She's a hero. Makes me think of the White Walkers or the others from A Song of Ice and Fire. You know, the White Walkers and the others, they are very closely associated with the weirwood trees, and there's a lot we don't know about them from the books. There's a lot we know about them from the show. But gosh, goodness gracious, can't say it. The words they use in the book, that George uses in the book, he usually compares it to, like, they're the guardians of the trees. They come from the tree's shadows. When they talk, it sounds like icicles cracking. So they're, you know, they are beings made of ice. When they come, the cold comes. You know, that's a big one. When the White Walkers or the others arrive, the cold comes with them. And we could see that comparison with this Ancient Hero of Zamor. She is emanating frost. Like, her weapon is now frost. She's breathing frost. She just brought up an ice storm. So, you know, this is, you know, I think firmly this is supposed to be an other. So, you know, if you're a fan of A Song of Ice and Fire, what the Ancient Heroes of Zamor are, you should probably be thinking about what does that mean for the others in Song of Ice and Fire. Oh my god, is she going to kill me? Yes, she is. But we got to see a lot of her cool ice spells. She's a prisoner in some way, and why is she imprisoned here? We're gonna beat her. We need her item. So I think that's you know, the Ancient Heroes of Zamor. And with my prophetic powers, I can tell you that they don't really give you a lot of lore later in the game. Let's put on some armor. But we can deduce a lot from them. We will be able to deduce a lot from the Ancient Heroes of Zamor. Do I have anything else that I could... I need, like, a fire weapon. All right, we're back at our Evergaol. I got this Bossamer whatever weapon. We're going to put grease on it. We're going to throw fire bombs at her. We're going to do our best. You know, her move set reminds me of the Farum Beastman that we fought at the very beginning. So I'm curious if she has any relation to that. Oh, jeez Louise. There we go. It was all about the shield, baby. Don't forget about the shield. And our reward? Radagon's Scar Seal. I think that's a very, very good reward. So, in the Weeping Evergaol, the person who was sad was this ancient hero of Zamor, which is very similar to the others or the White Walkers from A Song of Ice and Fire. She had a chain around her wrist. She was imprisoned in an Evergaol, where the Tarnished were banished, in a land that used to be run by, seems like, a dragon-worshipping pagan society, outside of a wandering mausoleum with a soulless demigod inside, being their tome being warded. Oh goodness, my frickin' words. And our reward is Radagon's Scar Seal. It has the lattice. It's an eye. You can see it's kind of red and bloody. Has the lattice. An eye engraved with an Elden Rune, said to be the seal of King Consort Radagon. Raises vigor, endurance, strength, dexterity, but also increases damage taken. So not too bad. The seal represents the lifelong duty of those chosen by the gods. And at that church up here, we found a guy where it should have been Marika, and in the lattice behind him. So I think we can firmly say that that is King Consort Radagon. And if he's King Consort, he must be the King Consort to Queen Marika. So this is Marika's husband. He was also looking over, he's in the area where Marika told Godfrey, time to pilgrimage out of here. You are being tarnished. So it looks like Marika had Godfrey. He was the first, he's the Elden Lord, okay? He's Godfrey's Elden Lord, my lord, and your warriors. Now they're tarnished. Get the hell out of here. And then she marries this guy, Radagon, and he has an Elden Rune. I think this is our first mention of an Elden Rune. We know about, we know about Great Runes. We know about Great Runes from our Rune Arc. A shard of Shattered Elden Ring. Grants the blessing of an equipped Great Rune. This is an Elden Rune from the Elden Ring. So this guy has crazy. This guy's crazy. He's got an Elden Rune. That must be like one of the best runes out there. And it's this lattice that we saw behind him in his statues. It raises all the physical attributes, but makes you take more damage because the seal represents the lifelong duty of those chosen by the gods. So was this woman in this jail cell, this prison, was she chosen for a lifelong duty by the gods? Did she have a relationship with this Radagon in any sort of way? You know, what was the relationship between her and Radagon? Maybe she was an adherent of Radagon's. And Radagon, now we have a name to this guy. Oh, we can go down there and pick up something. Let's do that while I chat. While we chat about Radagon, who he might be. He does the Star Caller. What do you call it? He does the Star Caller pose. She's trying to call the stars in some way. He's a Golden Order fundamentalist because of the people were leaving. What do you call it? Centipedes, golden centipedes by his statue, or you can find them there or whatever. Oh, I'm gonna die. I should get out of here. Woo! That's okay. They'll just take America. And he has this relationship. In some way, there's a relationship between this ancient hero of Zamor, this ice creature, this ice woman, and the King Consort Radagon. Not saying he has a personal, intimate relationship with that, with the person in the Evergaol, in the Weeping Evergaol, who's sad, but you know that there is a connection. What does Radagon, the Elden Lord, assume, King Consort, yeah, he's the Elden Lord, the King Consort of Marika, What is it? What does she have to do with him? Star Calling, Golden Order Fundamentalist, Frost Woman. Yeah, a lot of crazy stuff. Yeah, what is she doing down here? Why was that ancient hero of Zamor down where the Tarnished were banished? Oh, we got more Trina lilies. What does Saint Trina want us to see here? Is it that there is a Caden sellsword with 2 wolves? Why is a sellsword here? Yeah, he has the same sword. That's remember we fought we had a help from Itzvan, and I said maybe he was a sellsword turned knight or a knight turned sellsword. Well, that sellsword had the sword that we were looking for. Oh goodness, and a Mausoleum surcoat. Maybe the Saint Trina lilies were here because she wants us to find the cave. All right. We're going to do this cave. And when we get in this cave, we're going to read about this surcoat. You know what? Maybe we'll wear it. We'll get eclipsed. We'll get eclipsed up. Oh. Oh my goodness. Armor worn by headless soldiers who endlessly guard the wandering mausoleum. The surcoat depicts the mausoleum bell, which rings in constant mourning of the soulless demigods. So it is ringing in constant mourning of the soulless demigods. So the soulless demigods, they're dead in some way. This is that makes sense. That's their tomb's ward. The tomb that's being warded is theirs. So how did they die? How did they become soulless? That's something that we're going to want to learn. Let's also change my pants. Let's get more knightly. This is a very knight-like sword. Oh! Since we have Radigan Scarseal on, we actually get access to more weapons. Oh! Use a sword spear. What else can I use? Bloodhound Fang. Which, we move so fast, turn invisible. No shield then. Oh, goodness. Okay. Let's see. I actually want to use the sword spear. Can I get a shield too? What was the name of this cave? Tombsward Cave. Okay. It's a cave of Tombsward. And, ooh, we got some new enemies. These are mushroom men. And they're living in the fungus. Living in the swamp. A lot of mushrooms here. And we know mushrooms, very important to George R. R. Martin. Let's try out this new weapon. And they cast, poison spells. Oh, this is a cool, I've never used this before. I've never seen this, I've never used this moveset, but I know it's very popular. Wow. Okay, so these guys have staves, they got mushroom, they're just really fungused up. And they cast spells in some way, so they have this, there's a poison culture going on here. So let's try and think, why is there poison in this place? What are these people doing here? This is the Weeping Peninsula, and this thing is so strong. Yeah, they cast poison spells. Oh, I should have tried to see what the thing looked like. We got Poison Bloom down here, and if we recall, probably should make more of these. Poison Bloom is made from Erdleaf flowers. See? Erdleaf flower, Poison Bloom. It's very, why am I still taking out poison? It's very, Erdleaf stuff, Erdleaf stuff is very malleable. Let's not go down there yet. I think it's because I rolled in the poison. Wow, this weapon's really good. Oh, for summoning. Gold signs and a K. Okay, that's what I want. Furl Calling Finger Remedy. Furl Calling. Furled Finger. It's calling the furled finger. It's a little gold. Shows the gold. It's summoning, we know it's kind of like I guess summoning spirits, because we see that. I don't really know what to make of. I guess that, this, since tarnished some of them, there must have been tarnished down here and they got messed up. This reminds me of the writhing, dead that we've seen before, but it seems like... That's pretty good. It seems like the dead things, yeah, it's kind of rotting. They have become poisoned as well, so the poison is very malleable. And what do they drop? Smithing stones. So is it living rock? Is that supposed to be that maybe it was one of those knights outside and he got a... Oh, and we have our little Miranda sprouts that can do fire. Or, poison. Come on, do it. No? They scream. I think that's the boss room. We're not done yet. We have to run around. Do you hear that music? It sounds like piano. All right. So there was a nomadic warrior in here for surviving an utter scarcity, and they are teaching us how to make poison grease and poison bow drawstrings. And to make poison grease, root resin, poison bloom. Yeah, that makes sense. The root resin, which comes from the great tree roots, is also seems to be very malleable. Did they give us anything else? Immunizing cured white cured meat. A white sliced meat, dried out from pickling. Green medicinal solution, lasts longer than traditional cured meat, but reduce effectiveness. Let's use it. Why not? Oh, Jesus. That scared me. That guy's freaking big. And our Arteria leaves, which are used to make our exalted flesh, which Badland chieftains really like. So, and we found a tarnished furl calling remedy in here. So a tarnished must have been in here. And what are these guys praying? Yeah, there must be some type of religious folk who are into the poison and the weak to fire. All right, what is our enemy and what will our reward be? Why is this place so poisoned? What were these things worshiping? What were these people worshiping? It is a Miranda Blossom. And let's hear it scream. Oh, goodness. All right, the trees fight back. So, this is a very, very interesting cave. It's a very interesting cave because of our reward. The Viridian Amber Medallion. Now, we already have we were able to buy the Crimson Amber Medallion, which increased our HP. And if we look on the sigil, it's a little flower. This one is kind of roots. The Erdtree's old sap became amber, treasured as the most precious of the jewels in the Age of Godfrey, first Elden Lord. Primordial life energy resides within. And if we look, there is a hole in the ceiling. And from what we learned from Erd leaf flowers, they can make the little poison blooms, They make the little Miranda sprouts. But now we also learn that the amber, the sap, can also create this tree life. So this sap... Very interesting. This sap can make these trees that can bleed, that can make poison, that can scream when they're on fire, that can make beams of light. And these were treasured during the age of Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. So if I Now, knowing what we know, that these can make these living tree, that this sap, that, it dropped the medallion. There's a hole in the ceiling. We know that this is the area where Godfrey became tarnished, and him and his warriors were banished from the lands between. It looks like one of those tarnished warriors who had this sap that was precious in the age of Godfrey. It fell down here. And then in sprouted this Miranda Blossom. And then it spewed poison, and it kind of made this place very funky, very poisony. It rotted and decayed, and now we got Mushroom City over in here. Thanks to that sap from the Erdtree falling into this cave. That's very interesting that the sap could do that. The sap, okay? And one of Godfrey's tarnished warriors, it was sap that they were holding on to. So let's, we'll have to learn what, I'd be very remiss to learn if these tears that were used to spread the faith, if they were that sap, or if we were drinking, that sap. The tears of blessing were that sap. All right. I think we did a lot. We did a lot this episode, I think. We did the Minor Erdtree. We did Ruins. We did Weeping Evergaol. We did Tombsward. We talked about a lot, I think. I think we made some good progress. Next episode, we're going to shut that bell up and maybe learn a little bit more about those wandering mausoleums, the soulless demigods cradled within. Why are they America's unwanted children? What is going on there? Oh, look at the roots. Here's some resin. All right, you know the drill. Let's do the thing.